everybody, and welcome to a special edition of our Money Mondays for May 21st. My name is Megan Kasak, and I'm the Communications Coordinator for the City of Stillwater, and we're here today with Fire Chief Tom Bradley, and we're at Fire Station number 2, which is here at Campus Corner on University and Knobloch near the OSU campus. Good afternoon.
Hi, Megan. How are you today?
Doing well. So we came out here today because some of you may have heard, or you may have been asked about a potential relocation of Fire Station number 2 for a potential GO, or general obligation bond election, coming up. And so we decided we'd like to come out, we'd like to maybe tour with Chief Bradley and talk a little bit about why the city is considering relocating Fire Station number 2.
Well, first off, I'd like to say thanks for the opportunity to reach out to the folks on Facebook today and talk a little bit about Fire Station number 2, and also the upcoming, or the potential upcoming, for a general obligation bond to relocate Fire Station number 2. Fire Station number 2 was built in 1939 under the WPA, and it was a cooperative effort between the City of Stillwater and Oklahoma State University. And believe it or not, this station was built in 2 phases. The west 2 bays were built, and then the east 2 bays were built, and then the second and third floor was added. The City of Stillwater and Oklahoma State University have a cooperative agreement where they gave us the land for a 100-year lease, and the City of Stillwater was responsible for putting a fire station on the property and providing service to Oklahoma State University when it comes to fire suppression. And we've done that since 1939, and it's a wonderful partnership between us and Oklahoma State University. In 1966, there used to be a fire station located down on 9th and Lewis, and the City of Stillwater passed a general obligation bond to move Fire Station number 1 from that corner at 9th and Lewis down to where it presently is on South Main Street. And that was about 1966. And about 10 years later, 1973-74 time frame, they built Fire Station number 3, which is out on Lakeview and Perkins Road. And then about 10 years later, they built Fire Station number 4, which is located at 19th and Mansfield in the southwest quadrant of Stillwater. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've had a lot of discussions about relocating Fire Station 2. While it was a great place for the City of Stillwater when it was built in 1939, the needs of the community have grown and the infrastructure has changed a little bit when we talk about roads and buildings and high rises and things like that. So what we're looking at is hopefully relocate this fire station somewhere to the west in the vicinity, the very close vicinity of 9th and of McElroy and Western. That being out there, it puts us on the major thoroughfares that allows this station and the companies assigned to this station to move around quickly and rapidly throughout the City of Stillwater, providing everybody a uniform coverage across the city when it comes to fire suppression. What we'd like to do is take you inside and show you Fire Station 2 from the inside. One of the things I do want to point out is Oklahoma State University recognizes this is an iconic building, and they have plans to repurpose it down the line if and when we should relocate this fire station. Megan, let's go inside.
All right. So tell us a little bit about this space.
Well, this is an iconic fire station. If you look at this fire station, it shows the true architectural Georgian style, I believe, that they talk about, that was built in 1939. And this station, for the most part, remains unchanged. And what's unique about this building is it sits on the National Historical Registry of Buildings. And that was done probably 6 or 7 years ago, so it's a really iconic building. What you see on this wall is our storage area for the most part, and there's not a lot of it. Down here on the end, we have a drying cabinet that was put in so we can meet the NFPA requirements on maintaining our personal protective equipment because of the contaminants that go into our bunker gear. Then it has to be cleaned after each fire, and annually it gets sent off to be inspected, tested, and repaired by a third-party administrator. Now, on some of the posters that you see around town, is this building was built in the time where asbestos was a product used in building construction. This building still has asbestos in it. However, it's closely monitored by Environmental Health and Safety at Oklahoma State University. And when it comes time to doing work onto the station, there's an increased cost because we got to make sure that we're not messing with anything that could cause a contamination within the building. This station is laid out where we can have 4 frontline pieces of apparatus. Today we have the fire engine, and we also have our regional hazardous materials response trailer and truck. This unit's available to go across all of Oklahoma in support of the Intrastate Mutual Aid Agreement. Additionally, what behind the magic blue door here, if you will, is the opening to the training tower. Now, this training tower was originally used as part of fire service training when they did recruit training and did training for firefighters all across the state of Oklahoma. Oklahoma State University at one time had their fire protection and safety engineering program here. And if you look at the ceiling, all those pipes and stuff that are exposed, those are the remnants of the training for the School of Fire Protection and Engineering when they did college classes for future engineers when it comes to sprinkler system design for industry. Another unique fact about this building was that back in the early 70s when a tornado came through Stillwater, it took the cupola off the training tower and actually flipped it over and put it through the roof on this side of the station over here. Let's walk you through the kitchen and the
room. I did want to ask too, some people have asked the question, if we relocate the station, are you going to be are we getting more trucks or anything like that?
No, what we want to do is we want to relocate the fire station in order to provide more efficient services. Okay, so we're just going to take the equipment and the manpower that are here and relocate them for future growth of the city of Stillwater and also for current delivery of services. So we're not looking at increasing the operations and maintenance for the department. We're looking at relocating a fire station to something that is more conducive to our employees, as well as meeting the current building standards and things like that, that's going to provide the best available service for the community. Let's step in here and show you a little bit about this. In about 2005, Oklahoma State University relocated their School of Fire Protection and Engineering. They were actually still teaching college classes here up until about 2005. And the Stillwater Fire Department only had access, we were only responsible and only had access for the first floor. From that time, Oklahoma State University Fire Protection School moved out, and we have the whole building now with the exception of part of the second floor, which is operated or is used by the Oklahoma State University Music Department, where they do, they have practice rooms up there for music majors. This room at one time was actual living room and day room for the fire station, and it was divided into 3 separate rooms. Here at the desk is the old alarm desk, and then there was a wall that cut it off, that we had a day room, training room on one side, and the kitchen was actually right here in this area. So the kitchen was about 12 by 12, had a dining room table in it, as well as the ice box and the stove and whatnot, and this was the only room that we had. Now, to take you into what's the day room today, now it's hard to believe, but this is the actual day room for fire station number 2. And before Oklahoma State University moved out, this was the bedroom. Now, picture 5 beds in this room. And the guys on this side, actually their bunks went end to end, and then there was 3 bunks across this side of the station, and that's the way that was the living quarters. We had our bedroom here, we had our kitchen there, our alarm office, and our training room. Since that time, we've been able to put together some funds, and we've allocated some space in the back here for what's now the bunk room, but let me show you that.
How many people on average will be at the fire station at one time?
Well, this station has a crew of 4 people assigned to one truck or one engine company. And the one engine company that's here is engine number 2, and they respond from an area from north of 6th Street, south of McElroy, from about Stillwater Creek, all the way to the east of our response area, which is about Highway 108.
All right. into now, Chief Bradley?
Well, we're heading into right now what's called the dorm room.
And is there something with the dorm?
Well, it drags a little bit.
All right.
But what I wanted to show is if you could get a picture all the way to the front of the fire station here and the distance that firefighters have to travel from this room to get onto the truck. And that's, people don't realize, but we're kind of looked upon and evaluated as to how fast we get out the door in order to respond to an emergency or a fire throughout the course of the community. So it's real important for us to have easy access to the fire truck and be able to get on the truck and get our truck rolling so we can meet the NFPA response times. Now, this used to be the old sprinkler lab, the second part of it, where it was just kind of an industrial room, if you will. And in about 2006, we've added some false walls and put a new ceiling in it and added some air conditioning back here so we could actually separate our employees so they could actually try to get a little bit of rest throughout the middle of the night. This station's real busy in the middle of the night because of the number of buildings that are located that have automatic alarm systems and automatic sprinkler systems, and also there's a high population of people that live within this corridor, and so we have a lot of medical emergencies that we respond to out of this station as well. But let me show you what one of the typical bedrooms would look like at fire station number 2. And I think this is probably a good one. I think this is where the captain or the station officer sleeps. But I think, you know, it's a building that was built in 1939 and the different areas have been repurposed. Those are single pane windows, so it's really cold in the winter, really hot in the summer. It's not unusual to have some college students out very late at night that'll come tap on the window. And
a lot of the windows are painted over.
They're painted over so that it gets a little bit dark in here and it gives them a little bit of privacy so that at night when they go to sleep, we don't have street lights or traffic lights and things that are coming into the fire station. We'll step around through the back door here and we'll take a look at what's going on the back side, and then we'll go in and show you a little bit of the upstairs. Watch your step. This is the north side of the fire station. It puts us out right behind the Serotonin Center. And if you'll look over here right now, Oklahoma State University is doing an electrical system upgrade where they're putting in new and more efficient electrical services to all the buildings. And construction across Oklahoma State University is a regular event. And in fact, in about 3 or 4 weeks, they're going to come through and they're going to trench in through here. We're going to lose access to our parking lot for a couple of days. But that's part of progress. So do you want to...
Would you like to walk around and go back in?
Yeah, we're not going to get into that one now.
So there's a back door here, but if I understand correctly, the engines don't come in through this.
No, not anymore. If you look, we have Oklahoma State University staff parking is from the sign back to Knobloch there, and it's real tight to make that turn. And then also coming through here, we have, years ago we had the opportunity to pull through and pull into this one back bay of the station. And we also used to have a drive around the side of the station so we could stack vehicles in here and bring them around. Since then we've lost that due to some shrubbery and some other stuff that's second fire escape that was put in to the second floor. If you look up here on the wall, those what appear to be red round things, those are water gongs, and those are probably antiques that were showed part of the different fire alarm systems when they did the School of Fire Protection and Engineering up here. The students would actually come out here and they would set off different sprinkler heads and things like that for their engineering degree.
So now that the trucks cannot come in through the back, they have to back into the front, and that's...
Yeah, it's a little tricky, especially on game days and days when the campus is really rolling. This is kind of a T intersection with us blocking the north part of the T, and our trucks actually have to come in whichever direction they come into. They pull into oncoming traffic, and then they figure out which door they're going to go into, and then they back the truck in. And you know, it's been a number of years ago, but we had an individual that actually pulled in with our ladder truck that was stationed up here at the time, and he pulled in and he lined up on the wrong door, and the door was too short, and he actually brought the door down and did some damage to the truck. And that's been about 10 or 15 years ago. Since then, we've changed some doors up and we've implemented some policies in an event to overcome that. But the bad part about this station when it comes to traffic is it doesn't put us out on a major thoroughfare that allows us quick and easy access across this area's response. It's going to be efficient and quick for the entire area. Take a step upstairs.
Sure. So I'm assuming no elevator in this facility.
I think it's no.
No. All right.
One thing I'll point out in this room, this is the second floor of Fire Station number 2. And this originally belonged, for the last 30 years plus, was the offices for the School of Fire Protection and Engineering. And when they moved out, we moved in. So this is now the company officer's office, if you will. And what's unique about it is we don't have any modern HVAC up here. We're still using window units and steam heat for the wintertime. There's our National Registry of Historic Places. And then if you look at this picture here, this is what number 2 fire station looked like, probably circa 1940. And that's looking at the west side of the fire station. If you guys will step out here, light switch, light switch, light switch. This is pretty much the treadmill room. This is where the guys work out on the treadmill. Stillwater Fire Department authorizes and allocates every morning of every shift an opportunity for these guys to work on their physical fitness. So up here is where they work out. And again, as you can tell, it's a little warm today, and it hasn't changed much. Originally, back in the 1940s, we actually had students who went to school at Oklahoma State University, and they lived in the fire station, and this was the kitchen and dining room. And they actually had somebody who worked for OSU Food Services that worked up here and was actually the cook and took care of the students at the time, but that's since gone away. If you all will step back out in the hallway, I'm going to come around and open another door for you. I don't have the key, so I can't show you that. I tried to open it from the inside, and I set off the panic alarm, so somebody's going to probably be a little angry with me, but we'll get that fixed. Let's take a walk to this third floor. This is the third floor of fire station number 2, and this room is exactly the way it was when OSU left it. They still have some stuff that's left over from the school that they didn't move along the lines. But you can tell we've got some leaks in the ceiling, and every time it leaks, we call out a repair guy, and they try to fix it, and we're pretty good till the next big rainstorm, and we're right back into where it was. These were the labs. They took out quite a bit of the stuff, but some of it's still here. And you know, the building has some potential, but it really doesn't have potential as a fire station.
Mm-hmm. We were wondering too, while we're going through here, where the bathrooms are.
Well, I don't believe there's any restrooms on the 3rd floor. There's one on the 2nd floor that's associated with the captain's office. Mm-hmm. And then there's one in the very 1st floor, and I'll take you through that because it's kind of a trip back in time, because it looks about like what a bathroom would look like in about 1950. So, mm-hmm. But we'll be happy to show it to you. Now, the one thing that's really unique about fire station number 2 is the training tower. Mm-hmm. But the training tower doesn't allow us access to it because of the location and the tight quarters. We can't set up our trucks. It's difficult to get multiple companies in here to do the training, but it does have some pretty unique views. Okay, watch your step, please. You'll hold that door. This puts us on the 3rd floor of the training tower. There's another floor that's above it. And when it was originally designed, we had a lot of open spaces around here. It was very conducive to doing multi-company high-rise training. It's not that way anymore. And then the other thing I want to point out is the infrastructure itself, being an old building, is the maintenance and upkeep. And I think one of the things you can take a look at is this dormer right here. It's in need of paint. It's needed some woodwork. The windows need to be replaced. So, being an iconic building like it is, it's not a very simple repair, because everything that's done to it can't affect the integrity of the building or the historical value of it. So when we start talking about repair costs and repurposing for the Stillwater Fire Department, it gets pretty cost prohibitive extremely fast. If you'll step back through, I'll one of the things that we talked about with the Public Relations Department is we want to invite the folks that live here in the city of Stillwater to come out and take a tour of Fire Station number 2. And in the future, we're going to have some open house days where people can come in and take a walk through. Even if you're interested in old architecture, we can take you into the nooks and crannies of this building and let you see some of the backside of it as well. Let's go this way. These are a few of the photos from the heyday of Stillwater Fire Department. And in this photo right here, you can actually see when firefighters lived on the second and third floor, they actually had the fire pole that they came down from the second and third floor. Students lived on the second floor. Watch your step, please. Today we have a little bit extra room in the fire station. Normally this bay that's open, all the apparatus that's assigned to this fire station is currently at fire station number 1. Today is a technical rescue training day, so that equipment's been relocated for the training at fire station number 1. It's a step back in time. This is the largest restroom facility on fire station number 2. And one of the things that we have to point out is none of this building is currently ADA compliant. So we can't have the general public in on an ongoing basis because we just don't have the facilities to cover down on those requirements. As much as we'd like to have them in, it's just not available. Beneath the black hole here, this is the where the electrical feeds come through and the transformer and the steam lines for our heat that we are provided from Oklahoma State University. So let's step back into the air-conditioned part, which would be the day room.
And there's only one shower in this entire building, is that right?
One shower for the entire building.
All right.
You know, early on I talked and I asked for a shot that shows from the living quarters, or the bedrooms if you will, out to the front, and it talks about the important time of getting out to make a rapid response for emergencies across the city of Stillwater. Our drivers are pretty good and our company officers are absolutely excellent, but one of the things that they have to do is when they come out of that back room, say after 10 o'clock at night when they've already laid down and they get a call to a certain building, you know, they're expected to know where to go, where the fire hydrant is, what the building pre-plan is, where they're going to stage, all of those things to affect a rescue or to minimize any damage that somebody might experience. And one of the things they have to do is they have to come in here, answer the radio, they'll check the map, and then they have to weave their way through all the equipment out there to get on the right piece of apparatus before they get out the door. So their response times coming out of the station are typically delayed, and we recognize that. And that'll be one of the things that if we should be able to go for a GO bond and the citizens were in support of that, then when we build a new fire station, it will have all those efficiencies built into it so we can provide the absolute best service available for the city of Stillwater. That's kind of the long and short of a building that was built in 1939 and has proudly served the city of Stillwater since that time frame. And hopefully the general public will take an opportunity to come up here and look around. Bring your children, your grandchildren up. We'll do a station tour and let them climb over the fire trucks. And any questions for me?
You know, I think this is very thorough, and it was really fascinating to see all the different levels of the fire station and just why relocation is so vital versus a renovation, if that were even possible.
I just don't think a renovation would be in the plans. And one of the things you have to recognize is some of the standards that we look at when we talk about fire station location is how close they are together, how well they're pushed apart so we can provide the service, what our response times are to the given portions of town. And then we have to look into that crystal ball and say, what's the town going to look like in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road? Because if we can move our people around and move our assets around without having to add additional personnel, increased cost and the like. So hopefully we'll be able to relocate and continue to provide excellent service for the community.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Chief Bradley. And again, if you want to learn more about Fire Station 2, this critical need proposal, or the other 3 critical needs that we are addressing in this series and for a potential GO bond election, you can go to our website at stillwater.org/go. You can learn all about those projects, what a GO bond is, how it would affect us, how it affects our community, and then there's also the contact information for Chief Bradley if you do want to maybe sign up to schedule a tour of this building. But again, that's stillwater.org/go. Well, thank you so much, Chief Bradley. We really appreciate the time you took out of today to show us around Fire Station 2. And we'll be back next month talking more about the general obligation election that we're anticipating for 2019. Thank you so much, and you all have a great day.
Thank you. Fire safe day.